I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Woohoo! What's up, everyone? We are back here at AfterBuzz TV covering Stumptown episode 16, All Quiet on the Dexter front. I'm your host, Ollie, Drenner. I'm super excited tonight because I'm back with my amazing panel. To my left, I have LaToya Blakely. She's back. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm excited to be back.
I'm so happy that you're back as well. And next to her, Rach Goodman.
Hey, I am Rach Goodman, and I'm here, and I am very excited to talk about, PTSD. Because who isn't excited to talk about that?
Well, we all have it these days, so it's important to talk about.
I know, good. I don't feel we can laugh at some of our shortcomings.
Yes, our struggles.
That's how we process things, and we just have to confront our past as well. But like I said, I'm excited. You guys are back. It's been a while since it's like a nice little reunion.
It is.
It's so
right
good.
Before, I feel like it should be before a holiday. Because I feel like we're always right before a holiday.
Yeah, and we're getting a break next week.
Right?
So
it's just, we never know with Stumptown.
I know.
Stumptown is constantly stumping us. Well,
Good one, Ollie. Good one.
There you go. I was waiting for this sound effect. Thank you, Vito, in the booth. So if you're tuning in live, thank you so much. If you're not, give us a question, comment in the comments below. But if you're tuning in live, like I said, let us know your theories because, we're constantly forgetting things in this episode. You guys are just as much as part of the show as we are. So initial thoughts before we get into the nitty gritty and some of these dark topics that we're talking about tonight. So initial thoughts first and foremost.
I was laughing from the very beginning when they played it so wonderfully where it's, they tune in and it's some kind of porn on TV and then they shut it off and then somebody actually arrives because it's a motel. So what's going to happen?
Side note, I do want to note, this is Vito in the booth. Rachel and I and a few others had watched Invisible Man this weekend, and through very serious parts, she was laughing the entire time. So I'm not surprised to hear that.
Well, I was laughing because if I didn't laugh at these moments in Invisible Man, I would have been crying. So that was my defense mechanism.
Gotcha.
In support of Rachel, I watched a scary movie with an ex-boyfriend, and I laughed throughout the entire movie. And by the end of it, he was like, "I think you're a serial killer."
So we've all got something in common.
We have something in common.
Were you laughing because you were scared, or was it like...
It was funny, and he was overreacting, and it was so obvious that it was
This movie, Vito was sitting next to me. He can attest to the fact that I could not watch for about half of it. So if you haven't seen Invisible Man, you should see it, but only if you like scary movies.
I want to see it.
I saw it. It was very good. So definitely go see it.
It was very good, yeah. For the parts I could actually look at.
In one of these.
Yeah, it was like okay.
Well, yeah, in that scene, this scene in this episode, I was kind of like, oh gosh, I can't. It was very cringy with the porno that was going on, and you really did. I mean, I think we all kind of wanted them to hook up, and the preview from last week played us because they literally showed us that scene, and that was all they showed. So of course they're just constantly teasing at us. But, let's say that for predictions of, are Dex and Gre actually going to hook up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I had to say it now.
Any more initial thoughts? Because it's been a while since we've all been together before we get on to our first topic, because I'm ready.
I thought it was an interesting episode, and I like that we are finding more out about Dex and kind of what happened when she was at the war and also what happened to Benny. And it just goes to show, you can't run from your past. You have to deal with your demons. I thought it was a good episode.
Confess, right?
Yeah.
And I love that the show is constantly planting those seeds because I feel like the last time we heard about the whole PTSD with Benny, that was probably 5 episodes ago. So I love that it's constantly just teasing us here and there and wanting us more. So I think that's really great writing and kind of foreshadowing that they do is really well executed for sure.
But this episode also showed us that things aren't always what they seem. Right? And so with Aimee and then even with Benny, we're finding out that things didn't happen the way Dex thought they happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes a PI to find out what went on what truly went on. And Hoffman helped too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
So, well, first of all, we got to talk about this new love story with Ansel and Lila, okay?
2 new love stories.
2.
Because Lee and Hoffman.
Oh.
But yeah, Ansel and Lila.
We can kind of mention them, but they're not as relevant. I feel like this episode is mostly trying to, Ansel, he's still not living at home, and he really wants to ask this girl out, and this is his whole list. He wants to ask someone out. So what are your thoughts on Ansel kind of enlisting the help of Tookie and Gre, who have two totally different viewpoints?
So first of all, his line of, do you have superpowers? Because
are you a magician?
Are you a magician? Because when I look at you, everyone else disappears.
Oh, that's cute.
I was like, yeah, I loved seeing Tookie actually show up and do this with the help of Gre.
Mm-hmm.
I also appreciated the actual relationship when we saw Ansel and Lila, sitting and talking.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cute and adorable, and I was very happy for him.
Mm-hmm. It was very cute.
Yeah.
I want them to get married.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that the idea is that Gre has better dating advice and Tookie doesn't, but Tookie's the one that's like happily married and Gre is like striking out.
Wait.
Things aren't always what they seem.
Wait, you're on to something. However, I have to say this because last episode, I don't know if you guys remember what happened in the bar at Hoffman's mom's birthday. I just want to shout this out real quick because I feel like a lot of people forgot about it. We actually met Tookie's wife.
Yeah.
And she was all dressed up, looking bomb. And she was talking to Tookie. And Tookie said, oh, is this just for the book club? Because she was just stopping by and she was going to the book club. So things aren't always what they seem. I feel like last week they were kind of hinting at maybe the possible storyline of Tookie's wife being cheating on him.
But would you be that stupid to get dressed up for a night out with your mister and go see your husband first?
Maybe she thinks that if she does this, like, first of all, maybe she's just somebody who always dresses up. But then two, maybe she thinks that if she just shows up and has this idea, like this confidence that she's not cheating on him and just like acts like everything's normal, that he won't suspect anything. I don't know. Because if she was dressing down, maybe he would.
She was showing some cleavage.
Yeah.
She was showing some cleavage. She looked bomb. Tookie, I was proud of Tookie because she was beautiful, and of course I want them to work, but things aren't always what you seem. This is a theme of the episode you coined to LaToya. So I wonder, is he maybe paranoid? Is she actually cheating on him? That's a possibility for predictions.
Yeah, or maybe everything's completely normal and they actually are showing a healthy couple, two healthy couples now, because we see Lila and Ansel together.
That just didn't sit well with me last week. I was like, Laura, because her name's Laura.
Yeah.
You don't like Laura?
You're
like Laura?
Her name's Laura. but why else? It just kind of was like a huge tease. Why else would they show that? Like, it was very obvious.
Then you're probably onto something.
Okay. And where's Lieutenant? Where's the Lieutenant? I feel like there was something brewing between Lieutenant and Tookie a couple weeks ago. So I was wondering what was that? What was that all about? But what do you agree more with Tookie or Gre's kind of viewpoint of how you should handle dating and kind of going up to people, or maybe not dating,
Neither.
just kind of. Hey, well, I really like Tookie because he is all about the pickup lines, and I feel like people don't appreciate pickup lines today.
Give me your best pickup line.
Wait, what?
What's your best pickup line?
Oh no, don't. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I really like the one.
Oh my god, you look like you're blushing.
I'm just pink with my hair.
You are, actually.
Well, I'm old fashioned. Do you know karate? Because the old body is kicking. So I really like that one. But they don't work on boys anymore, unfortunately. Sometimes I'm left on red, but it's whatever. Do you guys have favorite? Do you guys have favorite?
I like the ones that are messed up, like in Back to the Future. Like, and by messed up, I don't mean messed up. I mean when people get them wrong. Like when Marty McFly's dad goes to Lorraine and he gives this really bad pickup line, and it ends with, "My density has popped me to you."
Oh.
That would have me more impressed than some regular pickup line.
Oh, no, I like those stupid regular.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with Ollie on this one. I don't understand my density.
because the idea, he was so nervous that he was messing it up, and I can appreciate that.
Well, you know who didn't mess up in this episode? Ansel. Ansel, he didn't. I appreciate the fact that he kind of didn't listen to either or of the two. He kind of just literally went to the froyo shop where Lila was working, and he asked her point blank, "Want to go out?" And she said, "Like a date?" And she said yes. It was beautiful. It was so cute. And they had their date.
And I actually prefer that. Just be direct.
Right.
Like, tell me what you want.
And that's really, you know, him stepping it up as an adult. Doing what he wants to do and not seeking. Sometimes you just have to learn from your own experience and not other people's. Like, yeah, seek advice, but sometimes you really just have to go for it. Because I feel like this was like his first date. You know, because it was on his list.
And he had practice. I mean, we can't forget the scene in the bar.
He was
surrounded by like 15 girls.
Right.
Was it just me? When I first saw him, it must have been the makeup. It looked like he had lipstick, like actual lipstick from somebody kissing him on his lip.
Oh.
Yeah,
I think it was just the makeup. But like when I saw him, I was like, what? Like,
okay, player.
Yeah.
No, that was probably just like the filter.
Yeah.
You know. Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Because Lila would have to have a problem with that, probably.
I think so.
All these infidelities going on. But what did you think, before we move on to the nitty-gritty part of this episode, which was Dex and the whole issues of her PTSD, what did you guys think about Tookie and him building an empire? His whole speech about building an empire at the end in regards to Gre, because he seems to really want Gre and Dex to get together, and him proposing to his wife, and you know, he didn't want to build an empire by himself, basically, and he wants Gre to do that because obviously he owns the bad alibi by himself, and he just feels like Gre isn't happy.
This was one of my favorite parts because even before Tookie said directly what he was feeling about Dex and Gre, he was hinting, oh, well, Lila and Ansel, they're perfect together. They're meant to be together. And I knew that even though he was saying it about a different couple, he meant it about Dex and Gre. And that's why he was saying it at all. And I loved the fact that people like Tookie, who are on the outside, they have more of an objective point of view. And so when he looks in and sees couples, he can tell when people are right for each other and when they're not. And so for him to say, oh, hey, you really need to be considering, like without actually directly saying it, but you should be considering, you know, actually being with Dex because you guys would be great for each other. He knows what's up, and he knows that they would be amazing and that they need each other.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting, in-depth analysis. I just think that Tookie is a fan of like love and having your person, right? I think that his whole story was basically like, what's the point of doing all of this if I don't have someone to share it with?
Yeah.
And so he just wants everyone to have their someone.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he thinks that Gre and Dex could be good together. He sees the same things that we see, the tension and the attraction and the chemistry and whatever else. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think he's trying to encourage Gre to like make a move. I think he thinks that Gre wants Dex. So like just make that move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he obviously does.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, shout out to all the single people. You don't need necessarily someone to, you know, if you have something great going for yourself, you don't necessarily have to have a partner in order to.
I agree.
Just, you know, just saying that, especially if your wife is cheating on you, Tookie.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I agree with that. And I think that the other problem is that not so much Gre, because I think he's probably in a place where he could be with somebody, but Dex, I think that she would definitely need to still seek help, go to a meeting.
She's still unemotionally available.
It would not, if she got with if she got with Gre right now, it would end badly. Like, I can just feel it.
Right.
So I hope that they wait this out and that they get together when they should be together.
Right.
Yes, they should be together. Things aren't always what they seem, guys.
Nope. I mean, she was going through it for sure in this episode. Her whole thing. Moving on to our next topic, which is Dex. She was enlisted by Jeremy from previous episode to help Aimee, who's about to lose her kids because she was wrongfully accused of beating up an old man. She was wrongfully accused also of being a hooker. But no, she was doing her thing. She, you know, has a history of being like tied to a case that, you know, she was unfortunately not necessarily didn't have all the information with her ex. But she was working as a cocktail waitress while she was on parole, and it's not okay to do that. So basically, she was working illegally, but she was just trying to support herself, support her kids, and this reminded her about her PTSD with Hajira, and she was a woman whose husband stole a bunch of explosives. And long story short, Dex was told to, ask all these questions, and they started off well, but unfortunately it led to kind of like torture tactics and whatnot, and Dex refused to do it because no matter what, Dex has such a huge moral compass, and that's why I love Dex. I know she's such a flawed character, but she has this moral compass of always doing the right thing, and I just find that very valuable in her character and honorable. But because of that, this led to Benny's death, or so we think. LaToya, not everything is as it seems, but the attack happened because they didn't torture Hajira and get the information out of her. She refused to do the orders. So what did you think about this whole storyline and how everything connected? I know that was a lot of words.
I appreciated the way they told the story. They almost, and that's one of the beautiful things about this show in general, is the way that they economically use their dialogue. Sometimes they straight up tell us, which is great because I think we need that too. But other times we actually get the flashbacks and we get to see how something made her feel, and we can see how it's affecting her in the present. And so to me, that's what really held my attention, and it was captivating to watch her go through it in the past, and to see her, the fact that she was able to speak Pashto and actually connect with somebody else, and not have to have that translator who obviously wasn't even translating what she was saying correctly anyway. Yeah. It just felt very real, and I love the fact that they show people there's just so many like stereotypes, and I love that the fact that they are breaking this and saying, no, like this is a woman who is in circumstances where maybe her husband did this, maybe he didn't. That does not make her a bad person, and I really respected the fact that we got a storyline like that.
Yeah, and I love the pacing of this episode too, because it was showing those flashbacks. It was really just, as a viewer, I wanted to know everything that happened, and yet they weren't telling it chronologically, and then they were, and then at first, or at one point, I thought, oh my gosh, did Dex actually like torture this poor woman, or actually did something really bad? But knowing Dex's character from this point, I'm like, there's no way that Dex could actually do this because she has that huge, strong moral compass. And this whole time, she just wanted her kids, the Hajira, she just wanted her kids to be safe. So it was just a really horrible situation that it was, I forget what they said, but it was just due to circumstances, so that these characters were brought in. And I feel like that was also due to Jeremy and Dex's circumstances as well.
I am surprised that we didn't learn more about Hajira's kids and what happened to them, because I thought that was going to be the story. We see the pictures of Amy's kids, which not target, but kind of initiates the PTSD episode, because it's linked to the kids of Hajira. And so I thought that the kids got killed, or that something bad happened to the kids. So I was a little surprised that we didn't see anything else with the kids. We don't know what happened that to them.
I did too. My guess, and this is where I was a little confused. I wasn't sure at first that they were trying to link the IED bomb with what had happened with Hajira, and then it became obvious they were. When that became obvious, I wasn't sure if what they were showing is that Dex had disobeyed orders, ran off to grab the kids, and enlisted Benny among other soldiers to help her. That's what I think they were showing us. And so that's why, we see the bomb go off. We don't even know if she got the kids, if that was what she was doing, or I'm just wondering what else it was that she could have been doing that would have gotten her into this position while disobeying orders.
Well, that's what I understood. I just understood that she disobeyed orders and then threatened to report, and so they never got the information, and therefore they weren't able to prevent the attack. That's how I took the scene.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but I agree.
Hopefully she's okay, she's and her kids, because they kind of not to laugh, but they did kind of, as a viewer, I wanted to know I wanted full closure, you know.
And here's the other thing I thought they were getting at, back to the theme of it's not always what it seems. What I almost wondered if what they were trying to get at was the fact that maybe Hajiro was bad. And that when it was like Volkers was saying, you're going to walk into a trap if you try to rescue the kids. And maybe that's what it was. I don't know. They never confirmed that.
Yeah.
I almost feel like maybe that's not the case, but it was a possibility that crossed my mind.
Yeah, I don't think that was the case either. Just based on what Dex said. Dex said, I disobeyed the orders. There was the attack, and because of that, that's how Benny died.
I guess what doesn't make sense is, I don't know if you guys touched on this. I don't understand why she kept seeing Hajira and whatnot, because I just always took it as like Hajira died or something, because she's something. Maybe they'll talk about it next episode or something, but why else would she be seeing her, and she's basically haunting her if she's not okay in present day?
And she stressed multiple times, they took my kids, which is why I know we had already talked about this, but that's why I thought the kids died, because that was how they stressed it before they got to the IED going on.
And then that led to her flipping out at her house when she was throwing all those things. So I thought this was such strong emotion. This is such a strong emotional reaction. There had to be some kind of fatal death involved.
Or it was just the kids, right? So the kids were kind of the focus point of the situation with Hajira. It was, they took me away from my kids. I won't tell you what my husband's doing because he has my kids. If you get me my kids, get them to safety, then I'll tell you. So I guess it was just the kids themselves that were the catalyst.
Right.
And so maybe this was the first time Dex had an issue dealing with kind of like protecting kids.
Right.
Because even with Aimee, Dex didn't have direct contact with these children. We never actually saw the children. It was just that she was dealing with the mom who had been taken away from her kids. And it was Dex's actions that could either save the kids or not save the kids.
Yeah.
And obviously this ties into later we find out that it is tied to Benny's death. So I guess that definitely makes more sense. Now that there's so many pieces.
Talked about
We have to string all the pieces together and whatnot for sure. And obviously, Dex has been ghosted by her own family. So there's all these families. I think Dex just wants to reunite with not only her family, but she always just is fighting to reunite other families and bring them together ultimately. So many emotions tonight on Stumptown for sure. Any more thoughts? What did you guys think of Dex seeing Paloma? Basically, when she looked at Paloma, I feel like she saw herself in Paloma because she didn't want Paloma to bear this weight that Dex was bearing. Because if Paloma walked away, she would be holding this weight of these kids, Sarah and Olive, being stuck in foster care, and Paloma herself apparently was in foster care.
This was another situation when she was talking to Paloma where I thought, okay, everything Dex is saying to this woman, Dex is really saying to herself. And we've seen that constantly. Yeah. It just feels like another situation where that happened.
I agree with that. I don't necessarily think that Dex really cared if Paloma carried this guilt. I just think she knew that was the right thing to say to get Paloma to do the right thing, right?
This happens a lot with Dex. Now that you bring, I'm like, oh wow, this is her self-therapy basically. It's very therapeutic for Dex to tell these people, don't do this,
and it works, right?
Yeah,
like confess, Paloma. Damn it! If you don't confess, you're gonna bear this weight, and you're gonna flip out of your house and break your microwave and your stove and
look at me. This is where you'll become. Do you really want that in your life?
I never understand when people destroy their own things because I'm like, you have to clean that up and replace it, and that's gonna be so miserable. So like, no, I'm not destroying my own things.
So go destroy other people's
things. Or go to like one of those places where you can like pay to break stuff. If you find that therapeutic,
you can you can throw axes. You can paint. Not
maybe like throw paint will make you like feel better.
There you go. Throw paint.
That's some aggressive painting.
Hey, blood. You can paint whatever you want. You can paint.
Huh?
You can paint yourself breaking other things.
So though, Ollie, I just watched All the Bright Places, and that is legitimately what Finch did when he was pissed off. He painted his room. So it happens.
Like the walls in the room?
He was pissed and he was painting.
There you go. What that I find that very beautiful and very good on him. Good on him. Any more thoughts before we move on to our special segments?
Yeah, I do. I have to talk about Aimee and this criminal justice system.
Uh-oh.
Because
the system is broken.
The system is broken. And Dex had it absolutely right when she said, I'm sorry, is it innocent until proven guilty or otherwise? Because that's a true situation. Like, that's the way it works. They arrest someone and accuse them of a crime, and you can have evidence that says, like, this person didn't do it, and they won't just dismiss the charges. I'm assuming that the woman was the DA or an ADA and had the power to dismiss the case. And it's clear that Aimee was somewhere else. And like Dex argued, logically, she could not have been there, right? And instead of looking at the evidence and at least saying, maybe you're onto something, like, let me look into this, she just dismissed it. And I see that, not dismiss the case, dismiss Dex's argument.
Yeah.
And that happens so often. And so thank you, Stumptown, for actually addressing that issue.
Yeah, it's almost as if they have like a quota. We got to lock up these people. You know, like but it's true. It seems like that's like they just are trying to find, it's almost as if they're bored and they have to wrongfully accuse people in order to keep this broken system going.
It's probably easier for her to try and prove that Aimee did it than to try and find somebody else.
So they are lazy.
Right. There's another thing. There you go.
That's what I was,
Fake.
Because you could just tell.
Fake ass system. Fake ass system. I said what I said on AfterBuzz. On AfterBuzz. Exactly. Any other thoughts? Before we get on to... No, thank you for bringing that up. It's something that I glazed over. The system is broken, and it's time to fix it. And this is why LaToya is a wonderful person who is working to fix it. So thank you, LaToya.
I'm working. You're working.
All right, so let's get to some quick... No. Before we get to news, we got to get to our special segment of the week. Very important. You just got stumped. Yes, if you don't know what this is, basically all you got to do is tell us what stumped you in this episode. Was it a moment? Was it a character? Was it a crazy ass scene? Let us know what stumped you in this episode. Does anyone want to go first? Anyone? I'll go first. Oh God, she's looking away. For podcast.
I let you go first all the time. Go first.
I mean, I have something.
For podcast listeners, Rachel was hiding under the table. I'll go first. Just real quick. What stumped me was the scooter chase scene. I was so shook. I was asking you guys, do those even exist still? The motorized scooters that you pay like $1 to ride? I don't see those anymore. I used to see them everywhere like months ago, like last year. But yeah, that's something me. It was hilarious. I was here for it.
Mine's completely related then.
Uh-oh.
How does Dex not know what Twitch is?
I didn't know either.
I take it back.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're both really We're major nerds. If you know what Twitch is, you're super nerd.
I mean, maybe it's just because I'm so like involved in this in the Twitch community,
live streaming and
like
watching,
gaming and and just like comic books. And
I'm like, I still like paperback books, guys. Hard books, no ebooks.
I like paperback books,
No Twitch for me.
But I guess maybe that just shows how because I just assumed everyone knew what Twitch was. I guess not.
No, she's too busy drinking.
Or Periscope. I didn't know what that was either.
Oh, that is so old.
Wait.
I feel like
Periscope? Oh, I don't know what Periscope is.
Isn't that so old?
I don't know. I met this gamer on set, and he does Twitch and Periscope, and he was like explaining to me, and I was like, I don't understand.
Is Periscope still a thing? Oh my gosh, I'm stumped right now.
I'm stumped at the idea of what Periscope is.
I agree with Dex. The idea that I pay to watch someone else game. Like, why would I do that? Why is that exciting?
You don't always have to pay either.
But people do pay.
Yeah.
But why? Exactly. That's them too. Okay.
Because people are lonely, LaToya. What was she just like looks at me.
You can also
why do people watch after shows for TV shows? I guess these are all of the questions. Exactly my point, though.
You can go on YouTube and watch people game for free.
That's true.
Oh,
did you have a stump moment?
I have a stump.
Okay, please let us know.
I was stumped to find out that Dex and Gre did not hook up, and I was also stumped, as we discussed, by the Hajira and kids thing. Like I was just kind of like, what? So.
It just left me wanting more.
Yeah,
basically, for sure.
So
some quick news. Oh, sorry.
And this man, the victim, who brought a prostitute back to his house. Like, where did they do that at? I don't understand. Okay.
He was lonely again. People are lonely. His wife passed away, and he has petunias.
Well, ride around in the car. Don't bring it to your house.
I know. How dare she? She left the cigarette butt in the petunias.
In the petunias.
How dare she? But it did help us find her.
You looked up Periscope.
I did. I still don't know what this is. This must have missed me.
It's just another live streaming thing.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to some quick news really quickly.
Yeah.
Because then we got to get to some quick predictions. So first up, I did want to just shout out Cole, who plays Ansel. This was just a quick video he shared on his Instagram, and it just was captioned, "Last days on set." So it just goes to show that Stumptown is coming to an end. News that we found out tonight, that there's only 2 more episodes. And there's a 2-week break, so we won't be here next week. But the week after, we will. But like I said, 2 more episodes of Stumptown. I cannot believe we're talking about 16 episodes. But shout out to the show. I've had such a great time covering it with you guys week after week. It's going to be so bittersweet when it ends. But in more news, Super Tuesday just happened yesterday. And shout out to the amazing Michael Ealy, who went out and voted. So important to cast your vote. We want to work together to get change. And what other way are we going to do it without voting? So shout out to you. Did you guys vote? Were you able to vote yesterday? Yes, vote. Well, it was Super Tuesday in California. So it's just cool that Michael Ealy, who plays Hoffman, went out and did that. I think he was with his daughter in that caption, in that video.
I think so too.
But
everyone should have voted.
Yeah,
I did not. Only because I was out of state. And I waited too late to do absentee voting.
Well, there you go. No problem. We still got another election day coming up soon, so, just cast your vote, get ready, get registered. Everyone, is important vote because, not to get political, but
it's important to vote.
I was going to say something.
I'm waiting.
No, it's a bad word. So why don't we get to rapid fire predictions before I start cursing?
TV predictions.
Okay, what do you guys think is going to happen? There's more to the story.
Dex and Gre. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna find out that things didn't go down the way Dex thought they did, and maybe she's not actually responsible for. Well, she wasn't responsible anyway, but I think we'll find out that it didn't happen the way she thinks it happened.
I agree. I think Dex and Gre are actually going to hook up again. Also, shout out to Ansel. He moved back in home.
Oh, yeah. Ansel came back.
Shout out to him. And just goes to show that just because you are an adult doesn't mean you have to move away, Because it showed a lot of character. I did everything on my list. I am an adult, but I'm still going to move back. And it was cute. I love that. I really did enjoy that.
And what's that saying? If you love something, let it go. If they come back,
I love you.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
And I
let them go, Ollie. Just let go.
Well, I will. Bye. Well, unfortunately, we do have to wrap up. So sad. Turning red again. I'm your host, Ollie Drenner. Follow me at Ollie Dreamer. Where can I find my lovely, amazing, wonderful, powerful hosts on social media?
Instagram, LaToya Blakely. Come check me out and say hi.
And you can find me on Twitter at Rach Goodman or on my author Instagram account at Rachel Radner Author. I actually have a book coming out on March 18th, so follow me for information on that.
Yes.
You can also see me on The Outlander, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Narcos Mexico Season 2. I'll be on Star Trek this Thursday. And what am I forgetting? I think that's it right now.
Young and the Restless. What happened to Young and the Restless?
and Retro Anatomy of a Movie. That's it. I said them all.
I love it. Okay, this is the queen of AfterBuzz right here. Better follow them both. See you guys next 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.